This is the 2024 Volvo XC60 Recharge plug-in electric hybrid. Today we're going to check out all the features, take it for a drive, and then put it to the test right here at our Peninsula Proving Grounds. That's coming up right now on Driving Sports TV. Welcome to our Peninsula Proving Grounds here in Western Washington. Today we're going to put this 2024 Volvo XC60 Recharge all-wheel drive plug-in electric hybrid to the test. First we're going to drive it on the street, and then we're going to put it through our easy off-road course. But before we drive, let's check out all of the features. Under the hood is a plug-in electric hybrid powertrain that combines a 2-liter turbo 4-cylinder with a set of electric motors. This setup produces a peak 455 horsepower and 523 pound-feet of torque. That is a lot of torque, especially for a vehicle of this size. An 18.8 kilowatt-hour battery provides up to 35 miles of all-electric range. Of course, this being first and foremost a hybrid, you will never really run out of electric power. The system will constantly generate enough for stop and go. Of course, you can plug it into a standard wall socket to let it charge overnight. And of course, once it's fully charged, you can drive this up to 35 miles without a drop of gas. And this setup is quick. Volvo claims a 0 to 60 time of only 4.5 seconds. In the back, you do get a nice amount of cargo space. You can also open it by waving your foot. 63.3 cubic feet overall, with the seats down. And it also has air suspension so you can lower and raise the vehicle for easy loading and unloading. It's kind of fun. Back here you also get a 12-volt socket. Under the floor you get a Volvo ice scraper as well as a charging cable. There is no spare tire back here, you only get a fix-a-flat. So of course you're asking, can you sleep in it? Yeah, Volvos are great to sleep in because they have a completely flat floor and they're very solid. No problem. Oh, nice panorama sunroof too. In terms of options, this model is loaded with the Ultimate and Climate packages, in addition to Bowers & Wilkins sound, active chassis with air suspension, and 22-inch diamond cut alloy wheels wrapped in Pirelli Zero all-season tires. Price with destination, as you see it here, $76,270 US, including destination. Let's check out this second row. Oh yeah, this is nice. I'm super comfortable. I'm 6'1", legs and torso proportionate. I fit great. I especially have really good support on my lower back with the way these seats are designed. Very comfortable. They're also heated with 3 stages of heat, which is nice. Down here I get USB-C sockets, 2 of them, and then I get a fold-down armrest with pop-out cup holders. Panorama sunroof really lets in a lot of light back here too, which I really like. Right up front. This is comfy. Love the seat. It's powered on. Yeah, there's a little twist knob down here, which is kind of a nice touch. Ooh. Lots of adjustments. I even have a lower leg adjustment, which you just don't usually see. Wrapped steering wheel, crystal transmission selector. I mean, this one is rolling out all the Volvo hits, isn't it? I even have the wool seat option, which I do like because they really hold me in place. And yeah, super comfortable. And once I get a position I like, there are 2 spots for memory. I know that recently we've been doing a lot of Volvos. It's only because Volvo has replenished their Northwest fleet and we had a lot of new vehicles to pick from. And unfortunately, a lot of other car makers haven't been really refreshing their fleets yet. We're still waiting for the new 2024s. So I thought, hey, let's do a bunch of Volvos. And I think the XC60 is really the sweet spot for me. It's not so big as the XC90, yet not as small as the 40. It's just a good size. You have a usable second row, you have a really nice back area, fold the seats down, you can fit just a ton of stuff inside this little vehicle. Now, as far as the Volvo-ness of it, yeah, this is what you get in a current Volvo, and it's just more of the same. We have a 9-inch tablet-style display here, which has their own Android system that's been modified for Volvo. And yeah, it has Apple CarPlay. It does support it, albeit with a cable. I do get 3 stages of heat for my seat and 3 stages of heat for my steering down here, which is nice. I can hit a button, I get more aircon. And then if I hit the little cog over here, that's kind of the most important thing on this display because that gets you all the vehicle settings. And the top one is the one that we'll use the most today. It's the drive modes. We have hybrid, power, pure, off-road, and constant all-wheel drive, which, as they describe it, it's the best description, optimizes power distribution to all 4 wheels when constant traction is needed. It does, however, result in higher energy consumption, so that's important to note. In terms of battery usage, yes, this is a plug-in electric hybrid. Yes, it can run in all power mode. That would be the pure setting. But the thing you got to think about here, that this is essentially a hybrid. And with that, we can actually customize the way that it operates. Either auto, so it'll use the battery whenever it feels like it. Hold, so it won't touch the battery and it goes gas only. That leaves us charge for later. Or I can go into charge mode, which will use the alternator attached to the gas engine to recharge the battery. So when we get to our destination, we have a full charge. So we'll play with those as we go, of course. Going further down, we have the safety assistance stuff, lane keep, road sign information. This also does have collision mitigation and blind spot warning, no real settings for that. And then we also have driving dynamics. This allows you to enable or disable transmission creep, whereas, if you're in drive and sitting and you don't have your foot on the brake, is it going to creep forward? You can turn that on or off. You can firm up the steering wheel, and then air suspension, you can actually enable it or disable it here so it rises or lowers depending on what you are doing. So a lot of good stuff here. Go into reverse, and yeah, we do get a rear view camera with sensors, plus we get a nice 360 view. Again, very good stuff. Volvo has nailed it with providing what we need. I don't particularly love the interface. I would like to not click quite so much. I would like drive modes to be front and center. I don't want to have to click this little fiddly cog down there just to get into this and then that. I just feel like this could be done better in a more optimized way. But at least below it, we do get physical buttons and dials for the aircon and for the stereo. So that's good. Gauge cluster is a one-size-fits-all. The only real option you have here is whether or not you're going to have a map running on the inside. And interesting to note, when you are hooked up to Apple CarPlay, it will project the map from CarPlay into the gauge cluster. However, by default, it is using Google Maps because this is, like I said, running Android, so everything is very tightly integrated into the Google ecosystem. And they've also included charging points because this is a plug-in electric hybrid. You could use a charger while you're out. It'll help you find chargers. And with that, let's buckle up and head out. So when I say Volvo, you probably don't think high performance crossover. But keep in mind, this thing has more than 500 pound-feet of torque. That is impressive. And it does it not just with the gas motor, because of course, the gas engine here is a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder, albeit a very high-strung one. But no, it's because of the electric motors that give it extra kick. So obviously, you're going to have the most performance when you are in a high-performance mode. And there are so many drive modes on this vehicle. We have hybrid, power, pure, off-road, and constant all-wheel drive. Further, you can actually set this vehicle to be in pure mode whenever, or all electric whenever you turn it on. That's a little setting in the control panel here. And then of course, you can also pick your battery usage. Do you want to automatically switch between electric and gas? Do you want to hold that electric power for later? Or do you want to use the gas motor to charge your electric battery? That is, of course, if you're traveling a distance, you're going to be mostly on gas and you want to recharge the battery so you can do all electric motoring a little bit later. That's an option there. It's also really good for car reviewers who wear down a battery and forget to plug it in. Yeah, we can just drive, and while I'm talking right now, I am recharging that battery. Very handy feature. Everything else here is very similar to the all-electrics, though. You have the same basic interior, same gauge cluster. You even have the same optional wool seats on this one. And it drives very much like all the other Volvos we've tested, with one exception. This one rides a lot rougher, and I'm going to mark that up to the fact that this has ridiculous 22-inch wheels. Nobody needs that. See, the problem is when you go to 22-inch wheels, not only do you end up with hardly any sidewall on your tire to help against, impacts or rubbing against curbs, you also have very little air to cushion you from the ground. So you actually are giving up some of your cushy suspension. Now, in terms of ride, wheels aside, the suspension setup on this I think is actually pretty decent. But yeah, definitely don't go with the 22s. Get 21s max, absolute max. And personally, I think those are even a little big. So driving around town in hybrid mode, the transition between gas and electric is absolutely seamless. You will not notice the difference. It is, I power on, I power off. It is a smooth transition. I put the brakes on, we get some regen braking. It's great. I could turn it into B mode, and then when I let off the gas, I get more extreme regen braking with that. But let's just keep it in drive for right now. So hybrid mode, very good. Now going to power, that obviously is going to harness the maximum output all the time, regardless of range or economy. And does this need it? I don't know. It's pretty quick in hybrid mode, but let's see how fast it is in a 0 to 60. So I'm going to just stop right here, and it's going to do a quick 0 to 60. 3, 2, 1, go. Pedal down. Whoa, mercy. Good Lord. 4.84 seconds in a Volvo. Wow. That's, I thought it'd be quick. I didn't think it'd be sub 5-second quick, though. This is a properly quick little crossover. And of course, nobody's going to know from the outside how quick this thing is. It is like the ultimate sleeper. Of course, you do pay a lot of money for that privilege. I mean, this thing is north of 70 grand as equipped. Now, granted, there are a number of options I don't think I would go with. You don't really need the Bowers & Wilkins sound system. It's nice, granted, but this really, I don't think this is the kind of car. You need like a big car for that kind of sound system, in my opinion. It might be a misguided opinion, but that's my opinion. And you definitely don't need the 22s. And yeah, the blacked out badges, I think it's a bit much. So you could probably get the price on this to probably around mid-60s and still have that same level of all-wheel drive hybrid power. And it's just fantastic. And in terms of handling at speed, yeah, again, it's a little rough because of the 22s. I'm feeling every little crevice of this road. But you do feel very confident in the corners. Which is nice, it's a quick, confident drive, and I really like it. I think Volvo has done amazing things with their powertrains and their handling. They just work really well together. My mind is still blown away at that 4.84 seconds. That is just, woo! It's kind of funny that one of Volvo's new prototype vehicles doesn't have a back windshield, and I find that particularly funny because Volvo's usually have such good visibility all around. This one I can see out of all corners. Yes, it has a surround view camera system, but yes, I don't have to use it all the time, which is kind of nice to be able to, see around your vehicle. It's something that I think is very much missed in a lot of new cars. They basically rely on you going with the surround view camera system. And I would much rather be able to just, visibly see what's happening than have to rely on a camera. Although I do like to have both. But the one feature that you get to proactively use out of all the safety stuff is actually adaptive cruise control, which this does come with. And it has two different versions. You can turn on the steering assist version, or you can toggle over for just regular. I'm going to do the steering assist, and this will pace the vehicle up in front of me up to the maximum speed that I set. And this is not a hands-free system, but just to see, yeah, it's dead center in the lane. It's doing a really good job with lane tracking. So if you are looking for a vehicle that has the benefits of electric with PHEV, has performance beyond what you really need in a vehicle of this class, and also has a good adaptive cruise control system. With lane centering, I think this is a great choice, especially if you're doing long distance trips. So even though I've been driving for a rather long time, these seats super comfortable. I love that I have so many adjustments, and this one also has the lower leg support, which I think is particularly nice, especially if you have really long legs. You'll probably like that. Yeah, comfort wise, performance wise, economy, it can do all electric. I mean, this vehicle really kind of does have it all. I think the shortcomings are really just in that infotainment system, and that's price. Yeah, it's kind of expensive. So Volvo says that this vehicle has 175 millimeters of ground clearance, or just short of 7 inches. That'll be fine for going through our basic off-road course. Also, this does have the 22-inch wheels, so we can't get too crazy with it because those things are super expensive and we don't want to scratch them. It's not our car. We do have to hand this back in one piece at the end of the day. To test how power is distributed front to back in this vehicle, I'm going to go ahead and do a full throttle launch on gravel, and we'll see how those wheels spin using a slow motion camera on the outside. So I really want to see what the maximum capability is here. So let's go to constant all-wheel drive. Interesting, that doesn't raise the suspension at all. If I go to off-road, it actually adds a couple inches of ground clearance. So we're going to do constant all-wheel drive. Going to go into drive mode, and I'm just going to hit the throttle and let's see how those wheels spin. 3, 2, 1, go. That felt pretty solid. Okay, now we're going to do another one, and this time let's go to off-road mode. Now it'll raise the suspension up for me. And this should give maximum power side to side as well as front back. Let's 3, 2, are we done raising the suspension? Okay, there we go. 3, 2, 1, for it. Ooh, yeah. Okay. Considering the traction situation right now, because it's moist gravel, which has a little bit more grab, I think that was actually pretty good. Gonna switch back to pure mode to roll up here in all electric. It's kind of nice, so quiet. Now this first test we call the Fun Forest. It is a simple off-road course that is going to check the capability of this vehicle to shift power left to right and front to back, basically to put power where it's needed to move the vehicle forward. So the first step I'm actually going to do is put the vehicle into off-road mode. That will raise it up from its sub 7 inches of ground clearance to probably around 9 inch or so. Okay, we've now raised the suspension up. Off-road mode will also shift power more aggressively side to side to help get us up and over these obstacles. Now, I could just gun it through this whole thing and use momentum, but I'm not going to do that because then we don't learn anything. We want to see just how capable this system is. And that means we're going to see if it can deadlift us up this hill. I like that surround view camera pop on. So I'm just going to go super slowly so momentum isn't doing the work for us. Have to be careful we don't dig down too deep into the dirt, otherwise we'll scratch these massive 22-inch wheels. Okay, this is where we're starting to lose traction on driver front and passenger rear. I'm just keeping the throttle steady at probably 10%. Yeah, and it shifts that power around for us, both in the front and the back. Good job. And now we're going to go down into the ditch here right in front of the dead tree. Ooh, let's turn off those parking sensors. Thank you. Nice one touch there. I'm going to really lift up that passenger side rear wheel. And how are we going to do with this power shifting? pretty good. Yeah. So far, this is doing great. So as we roll up to this next spot, I'm curious, can I just control my cameras? Can I just see a front view? Yeah, there we go. Okay, we're gonna go down and we're gonna lift up that passenger side rear wheel once we teeter-totter here. And I'm just going super slow so that we use the system and not momentum. Okay, we're at the teeter-totter. Add a little throttle and we'll see how this does. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Come on, you got this. You got this. It's really soft right now because it just rained. But oh, got us right through. No big deal. Then out we go. Watch that tree back there. Do we rub it all? Nope. Oh, and it's grabbing. It has a hill descent system in off-road mode. That is one of the big differences between just doing the all-wheel drive power lock and off-road mode, is that you get a hill descent. Yeah, it's grabbing me as I go down. Cool. Well, I think we should try the logs. Yeah, and for our final test, we'll go over the logs here. I'm going to use this front camera to help guide me. Going to avoid the manzanita bush on the right. Crawl over the logs. Try not to scratch these 22s on the few rocks we have here. I'm going to put one wheel on the second log here. Yeah, the crawl ratio is actually not bad considering what this is. It's a little lurchy as I go over though. There we go. We have plenty of ground clearance thanks to that air suspension. Oh yeah. Yeah, not a single rub. And we got over just fine. Now you might have noticed when I drove over those logs, the underbody shot of the vehicle, yeah, there's no drive shaft from the front to the back. The rear wheels are electric power only, very similar to the way that Toyota does it with their Highlander hybrid and their new Grand Highlander. Actually, the RAV4 hybrid also does it that way. But what Volvo's done here is they've made it very effective with a lot of brake vectoring and a lot of power. It's more effective than the Toyota version of the same. Last little climb out, and there we go. So that is the 2024 Volvo XC60 Recharge plug-in electric hybrid with all-wheel drive. Actually, they're all-wheel drive now. They got rid of the two-wheel drive model. But this is a fantastic little vehicle. My only quibbles really are the infotainment system, which I don't love, but it has a decent camera setup. The gauge cluster is very functional. Visibility is great. It's super fast, and off-road, it's plenty capable. For Driving Sports TV, I'm Ryan Douthit. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, share videos. We make them for you. Hope you enjoy them. And I am now off to the next adventure. Actually, what I'm really doing next is building a new road here because we need something a little more challenging than that. Although not when rolling on 22s. 22s are never okay.